Hello, everyone. It's Sunday once again, and welcome to Ask the Drummer. I hope you're having a lovely Sunday and a blessed one as well. I always like to say blessed Sunday. Today's guest is actually really special to me because her band is one of my favorite bands at the moment. It's sort of like a current one, a young and new band. They're so like whenever I go and see them live, they're so energetic and I feel so alive afterwards. And also, they have been voted breakthrough act last year by Manchester Evening News, City Life magazine. So it's really really amazing this band and this drummer that I'm going to be chatting to today. So right, my dear friends, let's welcome Leila O'Sullivan of LIINES.
Hey,
Hello, Leila.
how you doing?
You okay?
Yes, not too bad, thank you. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh no, thank you so much for saying yes to Ask the Drummer. Because I really am sort of like a big fan of LIINES. Because, like I said, whenever I go and see you live, it's like after the gig, you because you're so full of energy and full of life, and it makes me feel like, oh my god, I want to do more. I want to like more things. Um, right. So the last time I saw you was at the concert for John Hall.
Right, okay.
Sadly he's gone now, and yeah. So I remember that gig being so hot.
Yes, it was. I think we hadn't been there all day, but everyone else had. And
Yeah,
I knew that because we were playing in the basement room at the Ritz, and everyone
yeah,
else knew it. And it was the first gig for most people post-COVID. So it was, I
yeah,
think, doomed to be this kind of COVID pit. And so it was
yeah.
sweaty room, dripping off the ceiling levels
I,
of
I
like
didn't
being in
even
a
real
jungle. Yeah.
I didn't even realize there's actually a basement, so like venue down
Yeah,
at the
no, we
Ritz.
didn't realize.
So I've been going there for a few years now, and didn't realize that there's one there, and it was just really hot and things. But it was your set, line set, that time was just really really good. I really really enjoyed that.
Yeah, thank you.
Um,
We owed that to John. John's been. I don't know if we're talking about this, but yeah, John's been behind us since I think 2014 was the first gig he went to of ours,
yes.
with Dave Brown from Even the Stars, and off the back of that gig, Dave gave us our first ever review because we've been going
All
for quite
right.
a while. So it was,
Yeah.
and John's been to pretty much every Manchester gig since then. So it meant a lot to play that gig, and obviously, yeah, we were really sad about
Oh, yeah,
he
yeah,
passed away because he's a big part of our
yeah,
history. So
yeah.
yeah.
I never actually met him, but I'm sure I recognize or I remember him
Oh,
from
you
other
would
things.
recognise
So yeah,
him.
it's
Yeah.
always all like, yeah,
He's one of a kind, and yeah, like so many
yeah,
bands owe so much to him. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So how have you been since was that your last gig? Or you've been
No,
playing like
that was our first 3 live gigs, as in with people, with Anna, our new bassist, and the first one
yeah.
since lockdown. But since then, we did a few headline gigs in September, and we did 2 dot-to-dot festivals as well. So I think that was it. But yeah, so it was a busy, and we did Psychfest as well, which was in
Oh
Manchester.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so yeah.
okay, well, all right. Well, this is actually I just wanted to say welcome to Ask the Drummer.
Thank you.
And episode episode 16 is all about you, Leila O'Sullivan. So we're gonna start from the very beginning. I always say from the
Oh my
very
God.
beginning. Yeah, no. So I found out that you're not really from Manchester. You're not
No,
born there.
yeah, no,
So
I was, yeah.
yeah. So where were you born and where did you grow up?
I grew up in southeast London in Peckham and New Cross, and that was a long time ago. So
Yeah.
yeah, I moved to Manchester in 2001 to come to university, and then obviously, like most people, fell in love with the city and the
Yeah.
people and everything about it. So yeah, I've never left. So it's
I
been
know.
20 years now. So
Because it's like I've heard this from so many people that you come to Manchester and then you just sort of like stay. You don't leave the city because it's such an amazing. I mean, for me, it's like the best city in the world. I mean,
Don't get me wrong. Like I love London. Obviously, my family and some of my oldest friends are there. But I think moving here at the age that I did, obviously, I did most of my growing up in those years, or not growing up in the traditional sense, but you become. You just met so many people here and lived with people for the first time, and so you kind of form like long-standing friendships again. And so it just, I wasn't really ready to leave when it came to the end of my degree, and so I think so it was quite nice. It was nice to just kind of continue that, and then you just fall into work, and then you suddenly 10-20 years later you're still here.
Well, your teenage years, so you grew up in Peckham. So what was it like there? What was the music scene like? Because that will be like, is it the 90s or 2000?
Yes, so I moved to New Cross, which is slightly near Peckham, but so I grew up early years in Peckham, and then moved to New Cross when I went to secondary school, and I mean, I was so young, so the kind of nearest, I don't really know about the music scene then, but it's definitely, New Cross is a completely different place now. It was just part of Southeast London. It was kind of quite, it's just a very diverse place, and as is most of London, which I love about that. And there was a lot of different things going on, but I wasn't really part of a music scene then at all, because I was kind of, in my like early to late teens at that point. I did, I don't know if we'll go on to this, but I did play music, and I was in a band, but that was so
in London.
I mean, we me and one of my best friends from home, Anna Vincent, went to school together, and she's just released an amazing album, which is under her band's name, Anna Vincent Band, and she's been in lots of bands as well. But we both started playing music together when we were kind of probably like 14, 15, and her brother and her friends were into music as well, and they all kind of played guitar and stuff, and much better than me, because I'd kind of, sorry, I think I feel like I'm jumping around ahead of your questions here.
No, that's great. So, you were the drummer in this band?
So it was because I think by default I was kind of probably not the best guitarist, but also they needed a drummer, and I was like, I think I could try this, and so I'd sort of started to teach myself the drums. So that was my first kind of proper time on an actual drum kit, which was amazing.
Right. So did you have you ever had drumming lessons, or were you just self-taught? So
I was mainly self-taught, because I kind of, I've told this story a lot before, but I basically, when I got into drums, and obviously would listen to music loads in my bedroom, and obviously for most of your teen years you're bound to your desk to do homework and stuff, or if you're good anyway. Maybe I was a bit too good, but I basically learned how to play, to coordinate my arms and legs by kind of playing chopsticks and like sticks of sorts on like the lamp on my desk, and on my desk, and my feet were moving and stuff, and just learning how to coordinate that. And so then I think my mum and dad got me a drum pad, like a electronic drum kit, but not one of those, but not a drum kit like electronic one like that, but like a kind of pad thing that you got from Argos. And that was, again, had like little leads with these 2 foot pads as well, so I could learn. It was just all about coordinating how to move 4 limbs at 4 limbs at the same time, essentially. And then I think I got upgraded to kind of like a 3rd hand drum kit in our basement, which I don't know, I was always nervous because I was too aware of how noisy it was for the neighbours. So I tended to only practice when we had rehearsals and stuff. But I did have some lessons, but that was more like in 6th form, because our school became modern and got a drum teacher for a bit. But I think it was only for like a term, and it more was just me learning little things, and it kind of like helped a bit. But I'd kind of worked out how to play it before then. But being in a band is the thing that really helps you kind of understand what your style is, and how you what you like and what you don't like, and what kind of, I don't know how you that's the thing.
It's got to be sort of like in you, though, so like Because
Yeah,
I mean, not many people could actually do. I try to like have like the coordination with your hands, your feet, and then the eyes as well. So like doing things, and
I don't
so
play
it's
with my
got to
eyes.
be. It's got to be so like, because there are computer games where you can actually do things like this, but I can never actually sort of like master it and things like that. So I
Yeah,
mean,
I think.
with
Oh, yeah. Sorry, come. I keep
yeah,
interrupting you.
so no, it's fine. So I always sort of like ask the drummers because they said that of course you can learn it because when you go to sort of like a drum instructor and then they'll teach you those things.
Mm.
But I just feel like it's a gift that that you've got to have it in you first before you can actually. Is that? Do you think that as well, or
I think what one massive thing that helped me, and that I'll always be grateful to my mum and dad for, is that they were really into music, and I had music playing in my house a lot when I was younger. But also,
yeah?
my mum, like, I don't know, I'm remembering it differently, but she sort of forced me to learn a musical instrument. So she forced me to learn the piano when I was quite young.
Oh right,
I think I
yeah,
was maybe 9 or 10 when I started.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
I, and I really struggled to enjoy it, but I think it gave me the basis to really understand like music,
yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe because it was at a young age, or maybe it was because it was the piano and you have to understand the rhythm and the melody,
yeah,
as an instrument. But it sort of, in the absence of really being into my own music at that age, it really helped me just to kind of, like I say, to understand music.
to
But then
understand.
when my friends started to get into kind of like Nirvana and Foo Fighters and grunge and stuff like that
Yeah, yeah,
in when I was kind of 12, 13 or whatever, that
yeah,
made me want to learn the guitar. And so I taught myself the guitar with my mum's help, maybe my mum and dad's help. Let's credit them
yeah.
both. And so that was there, so I could play along to the music that I actually liked. And I think again, that. So I think that it was like learning an instrument at an early age helped me to understand music, and then made it easier to learn other instruments. And obviously, the drums are completely different, but I think having that understanding of the rhythm obviously
Yeah.
helps. I think
Oh, yeah.
it's probably something that can't be taught, because people who are just like, I just don't get the rhythm, or they can't kind of clap along, and that's something maybe that isn't, but that's maybe genetics, I don't know, but
Yeah.
maybe it can be taught if you're kind of someone's
If
sat
you
over you
really,
saying don't get it wrong, don't get it wrong. But yeah, that was for me that was the path really, in kind of opening up access to understanding music, and then to learning different music, and then obviously kind of loving the music, like playing along to music that you love. So
yeah,
when you do
that's
piano
true. Yeah,
lessons, you kind of have to do certain stuff to kind of,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially when you don't want to, you can't demand what you want to play because you don't know what music there is really. But as you learn to play other instruments, you get to play along to the things that you really
Do the things
enjoy.
that,
So
yeah,
that's again
yeah.
something. And so therefore, my kind of initial songs, I wouldn't just play to kind of, I wouldn't just play the drums. I'd play along to other songs. So like I say, like Nirvana and Foo Fighters, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
like Queens of the Stone Age and things like that. And that would be how I'd understand. Well, maybe not Queens of the Stone Age. It's probably quite a ambitious thing to learn drums to, but yeah, it was that
Yeah.
kind of route to understand like what different drum styles there were, and everything. So.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, before I sort of continue with the question, I just want to say hello to our friends who joined us. Trevor Palmer said hi, Anne and Lila, from another Southeast Londoner. So
Oh,
yeah,
hello.
but I think he lives in not Leeds. I can't remember. I can't remember now which one, but somewhere near Leeds. Oh, Skipton. Sorry,
Yeah.
he's based in Skipton now. And also Aidan O'Rourke. He's my husband. He said sound and vision, sounding and looking great. Right. So we'll continue. So, is there a particular moment, so like, that made you think, oh, this is really what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a drummer.
Um,
Um,
Sorry, come.
yeah. Is there sort of like someone that you saw, say, like a video that you saw, or maybe a gig you went to, and then you saw the drummer and you think, oh my god, he's just amazing, or I wanted to do this.
I'm
So
not
is that
sure there was like a moment. I think, like, to be honest, like most of my life, I've fallen into things, including my job. But I think it was so, like I mentioned, I was like, I offered to do the drums. I think, I mean, Anna might remember this differently, but when we didn't have a drummer, and so I played in that band when we were younger, and that kind of got me into it. But I must say, and this is something that I feel quite sad about now, but I never really thought about doing drumming as a thing, as a career or anything like that. It was just always kind of, do the learning and stuff, and do the drumming and music on the side. And when I moved to uni, I didn't do music at all. I completely kind of stopped playing. I went to obviously hundreds and hundreds of gigs. Like, me and my friends were at gigs, at least a few times a week, because we were right next to the uni, and we were watching bands for like £4 or £5 back in early 2000s. We had just access to everything. It was incredible. And so, and I would always kind of watch the drummers and really enjoy watching them. And I think this was going back again. Sorry, I'm jumping around a bit, but I saw Foo Fighters at Brixton Academy, and it was the tour where Dave Grohl and Taylor, I was going to tell him Taylor Swift then. Is it Taylor Hawkins?
No, Taylor Hawkins, yeah.
Both had a drum kit set up for like this massive drum off at one point. And that was, I mean, that wasn't the moment, but that was things like that were really, for me, I was just like, oh, this is amazing.
That was really exciting. It was all like seeing both of them drumming.
Exactly, yeah. So moments like that. But I think once I'd got into drumming, I think it was just something that I was always aware of, and always trying to kind of like make sure that I had the right view so that I could see the drummer for sure. And that's ever since, for about the last 20 years or so, that's what I've been kind of definitely doing at a gig, is more focusing on the drummer than anything else, and just wondering how they're doing and stuff. So but I think the moment I realized I really wanted to be a drummer as in like to do this more than I was doing, was when I met Zoe and Steph. So this was pre-Lines. Zoe, our current singer, and Steph, Steph Walker, we were the three founding members of LIINES. I joined their old band Hooker in must have been about 2010 or 11. And sorry, I didn't join them. I met them, and they needed a drummer. And so it was like when I kind of did a tryout session rehearsal with them. And I was really kind of quite overwhelmed by the concept of being in a band. I thought, oh my God, this is a big commitment and everything. But the enjoyment I got just from that one rehearsal was amazing. And then luckily they asked me to join, and then we did our first gig. And I think playing that first gig was just like, I was like, I have to do this as much as I can. And luckily it was the start of a long journey for us. And I think just every time I drum live or even in rehearsal, I'm just like, oh, I missed that. No matter if it was like a week or like what has been like 6 to 12 months at a time more recently. I do really miss it when I don't do it, and it's such a release and such an enjoyable thing to do when I do get to do it.
Yeah. Well, talking about Zoe, I just want to say hello because she's joined us. Hello, Zoe. He says hello, both loving this. Also, Andy Coy. They say hi, you guys, great show. Andy's actually very good because when I went to Liverpool to see Candy Opera and The Real People last Friday, he gave me the set list. So you know what I'm like with set lists. So
I do,
yeah. Thank you so much, Andy. And also John Kidd.
Hi, John.
He's joined us. He said, love Leila's drumming, very reminiscent of Stephen Morris. Oh wow, that's amazing. Yeah, and also Olivia. I think Leila O'Sullivan's your mum. She said, thanks for the mention, Leila, mum. Yeah, that's right. Right. So from your band in London, did it have a name or something, or was it just?
It was a gathering of musicians, I think, or budding musicians. We did a couple of gigs for sure, but I think we were called Orchid, but we didn't do much other than like. Yeah, we think we did 2 different gigs, but those members have gone on to be in bands like, Anna mainly and the group within them were in My Tiger, My Timing, which were they like won the Glastonbury Emerging Talent Competition back in, I think, probably the mid 2000s, and then Heavy Heart, and then like I say, Anna's released her own solo stuff as well. So like her brother was in the 2 previous projects and a couple of other guys as well. So yeah, it was a nice starting point for us all. But obviously I just moved 200 miles away from them, so we couldn't carry on.
So from that band, then you joined Lines or Hooker. They were called Hooker. What?
Yeah, but it was like I say, it was I was probably in Manchester for nearly 10 years before I did anything
Before you
music
joined.
wise,
Yeah,
and it was just
yeah.
a chance conversation that Zoe had with someone saying, "Oh, we're looking for a drummer," and they were like, "Oh, I think Leila's a drummer," and so it was. That was, like I say, it was obviously very chance. I think I knew Zoe, but probably not well enough to talk about stuff. And so it was, it was a really fortunate thing because it's completely changed the last 10 years of my life in terms of what I do in my spare time,
Yeah,
and has helped me kind of understand that work isn't everything, and
yeah,
that there's an amazing world of music and
yeah. Of
just
course, yeah.
travel and adventures and stuff like that. It's an incredible thing to do on the side and quite exhausting, but yeah.
But so it's not really like your um main career as a drummer. You still have your sort of like work.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But so from Hooker they changed it to, or you changed it to Lines.
Well, I
So I know
didn't,
you
but yeah,
don't.
it was yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know that you don't like this question, but what was the origin, or how did you come up with the band name
Uh,
Lines?
well, yeah, I'd probably rather talk about why we changed the lines than the name, but the name's just the name. Like we've, I think we were Zoe's quite into shapes and things, and well, I don't know if a line is a shape, but anyway, we saw a shadow on a wall in a bar. We were probably drunk, the three of us, and then it was kind of like, oh, lines could be a name, but anyway, and then the actual logo and the two lines and the slashes was
Yeah, yeah.
Steph's partner Lisa came up with that. It was an amazing, like, cool. Just we walked in the room. I think we were editing our original EP at that point, and me and Steph walked in the room, and Zoe and Lisa were just fiddling with the logo and stuff. And so that's where the two eyes came.
Yeah.
But we were, I think Hooker had been around for, I don't know, about 10 years at least before that. Zoe started it when she was 16. I'm probably starting to age
Oh, right.
everyone here, which isn't very good. And it was much heavier, more grunge and kind of like heavy guitar influenced. And we were starting to write stuff as Hooker, but that was a bit more sparse, a bit more goth, a bit more intense rather than heavy, and a bit more bass and drums driven. And so it felt like it was a good point. I'd been in the band a few times, so I didn't change the name or anything, but I'd been in the band for a few years before we changed, but I think it felt like quite a natural point in which to change the name
Check.
and to change the direction of the band. And it was a really good thing to do because it wasn't the best band name to be trying to promote Hooker.
Yeah.
And not that Lines has really been the best name either, but it gets people all confused. Yeah, it was a really good point, like a kind of good place to break and start off in a new direction.
Yeah. Well, when I was sort of like Googling you for the show,
Do this.
I've read somewhere that some people get confused because they think it's lions or something. It's like
Yeah, I think
lions. It's like lions, and
yeah, we did one big support tour, and I think Zoe's accent confused lots of people. We'd bump into all these people in the toilets afterwards, like, "Oh, you're lions!" And we'd
lions.
be like, "No, lines with two eyes, all caps." There we
Yeah.
go.
No, this. Well, you and Zoe, the sort of like core members of Lions, um, and you've already had like sort of like three bass players.
Yeah, so we were originally like I say, it was Steph, Zoe, and myself who
Yeah,
formed Line based from our old band Hooker. And Steph left in 2017, I think, and then Tamsin joined. And
yeah,
then I
yeah,
think when Tamsin left, it did feel more like, this is, Zoe and I are kind of like the core
yeah,
members
yeah.
at this point. Yeah, it's just in terms of the writing and recording now, it's just us that does all of well, mainly Zoe. Sorry if she's listening. Mainly Zoe, and then we kind of form the songs together. So it is we got a new bassist, Anna, involved, and she obviously does loads of rehearsals and plays live with us. But since a point with it has just been me and Zoe, kind of in terms of the music creation.
Yeah. Well, I've got these. I mean, I've got Tamsin's signature. That's
Mm,
Lines. That's an amazing album. I really,
yeah.
really love that one.
I mean,
Um,
just yeah. So Steph actually recorded on that, so that was it was we've done it all wrong essentially. It's never been an easy journey for Lines, but Steph Walker recorded the album with us, Stop Start, and then Tamsin recorded Sorry and
oh,
On
the
and On.
single. Is it the single? This
Yeah,
one.
Sorry and
Yeah,
On with us. Yeah,
that
so
one. Yeah,
that's yeah.
yeah. And this
Um,
one, I've got Anna's signature.
right, brilliant,
Because
so
of
good.
Anna. So,
Yeah, we're just messing with everyone's heads basically, and mainly ex bassist heads as well. But we yeah. But from now on, it's like keep on going onwards. With it's been just me and Zoe
but has
recording.
it
So
always been
Zoe's
sort
playing
of
the
like,
bass.
yeah, has it always been just three, or did you have like more members in the past, or has it just always been sort of like, like
Yeah,
a three?
well, as you see, we struggle to keep three together, so I think anymore would be a problem. But I think we've once sometimes considered, well, Zoe, I think would like more freedom to play to sing and kind of enjoy that aspect of gigs because obviously there's a lot going on, and so it doesn't allow her much time to do anything but play guitar. But her guitar's got kind of so good, and she's kind of, I think that's probably not an option now. I think we need to just
Yeah,
keep it, and it's a nice unit. It's a really nice group of people to be with on for
yeah,
gigs and tours and stuff like that. So I think it works for us as long as it remains big enough in its sound. I don't think there's any need for us to
oh
be
yeah, yeah.
any
That's
more
right.
people. I think it's just I hope that we've shown that you can make a good noise and nice noise. And let's call it music
Very
as a three piece. And yeah, anything else from our point of view would just be unnecessary, I think.
yeah. You both of you are based in Cholton, right? Because
Yeah, sort of. I'm kind of since lockdown. I've been a bit more living with my partner in Levenshulme, but yeah, at the moment
all
we're
right,
about like 2 streets away in Chorlton, so which is
all right. Because
yeah,
I really love like every Saturday. I haven't seen you there recently, but
yeah. This
whenever
is
I
starting to
saw
sound
like
creepy without the context. I know where you're going, but everyone else is like, I've not seen you there recently. Yeah,
well, because I go to work at I work at Kimby Records. Hey, it's in
yeah.
Cholton, and sometimes I'm just sort of like walking there, and I'll see you sort of like in a restaurant, or maybe just walking along. And I was like, oh my god, it's Lies. But I've always been shy to sort of like
Oh, you can't be
approach
shy
you.
with us. We've met too many times. That's not okay. Just throw
Because
something at us at least.
so what? How do you feel? I mean, like fans. What like for me? I mean, I'm such a fangirl that every time I see like musicians out. So I'm sort of like thinking, what are the do's and don'ts? If I'm not, like if it's not a gig, if it was just
Yeah.
sort of like see you and Zoe, like walking somewhere, or maybe in a restaurant or something like that, how would you sort of like react if someone just sort of like come to you and say, "Oh my
It would
god"?
make our day. Listen, we've both got full-time jobs and we're trying to make it as a band, and anything like that is sorry, I don't mean that's a bit flippant. It's just like we're still at a point where we just are doing this as a side gig, and
Yeah,
it's just yeah, we're not at all at that point where we're like, oh my god, I'm trying to have a night with my partner. Please leave me
in
alone.
the big
Exactly. It's just it's just a really lovely thing that people, I don't want to swear, but give a shit about us and our music, and it's we're just I think obviously I get that Adele might want to have her time alone
yeah,
in a restaurant with her husband or whatever,
yeah, yeah.
but there's a sliding scale, and we're quite far down it. But I think we just enjoy the fact that people enjoy our music, and we love meeting the people that come
Oh,
to our gigs and everything. And
yeah.
so don't
Yeah.
worry, please come and say hello.
Oh, I will do that now from now on. And Zoe actually says, "I would love that in caps,
Yeah.
all caps." So, um, so you've been Lines have been voted breakthrough act last year, 2020. Tamsin was still with you at the time, or was it already?
I
Did she
think
leave?
she Tamsin I think she finished the last gig we did with Tamsin, which was the last gig we did for a few years or whatever because of COVID.
Because of,
Was in December 2019, and we found out. Well, actually, we found out on the night. Actually, we didn't realise. We probably missed loads of signals to say that we were going to win, but because we were genuinely shocked on the night when we won. But we won we were asked to perform at the ceremony in the January. So we asked Tamsin to join us because part of the reason we'd been nominated was we'd had such an incredible year and everything, and she was part of that. So we asked her if she would perform on that for that, which was only like 4 songs or something. So that was a really lovely kind of last actual gig together. Especially because we found out on the night that we'd won. So I can't remember what your question was. Sorry.
Just about like the feeling of being voted as breakthrough.
Oh my god, we were honestly so shocked because we just it was one of those kind of awards things that I'd seen year on year, and I just the bands that had won it in the past, like Slow Readers Club and stuff, I just thought, you'd have to. It was a big thing, and I think it was testament to a really amazing year that we'd had.
Yeah, because it's the fans. It's the fans who like voted you, and not so like some like journalists or something.
And also, there was an element of shortlisting. And to be honest, when on the night when I spoke to the people like the MEN, like Manchester Evening News people that had organised it, the City Life people, they were like, how are you so surprised? And I was like, well, we are. I think one thing that I'd said in our acceptance speech, which was unprepared, was that it was nice to win an award like that as a breakthrough artist, and it wasn't like new artists, because we have been around, since I think our first LIINES started in 2014, so that's a long time for a new band, really. When we talk about new music and new bands and emerging bands, how long can you emerge for? But to have a breakthrough award 6 years later, it meant a lot to us, because it meant that we're still relevant and we still exist, and you don't have to be new to be a band that can get anywhere. It was just unfortunate that we won it in the year that the world shut down, and because it would have been an amazing launch pad for a lot of things, because we had a tour and a single, and then plans to finish recording our album and stuff. So it has really it kind of did. Obviously everyone has had this experience, so I'm not trying to at all claim this as ours, but it really, from our point of view, did stop a lot of things and slow us down. But we had so we did that, but we did at least manage to get finding a new bassist in before lockdown, because that would have been a really difficult job to do from everyone's houses via Zoom or whatever. So we were really lucky to pin Anna Donegan before that, because she's brilliant and so experienced and really amazing bassist. And so it was just like I say, we got some press shots, made it official. She couldn't back out. And so we were able to, we did a few nice like live stream gigs during lockdown, and then, like I say, that gig for John, and we did 2 festivals the 2 days before that as well. They were our first proper outings with actual people, which was amazing. So
Oh well, during lockdown, did you actually learn any sort of like new skills? About were you just practicing, because we're confined at home and we're not really going out at all, so some people actually learn how to bake bread and things like that. So did you do anything like something? No,
not really. I suppose it was I kind of got just a bit more absorbed back into my day job, and which I was lucky, I was able to fall back on that, and it just was very busy. So I mainly did that, and I think probably the main thing that I've struggled with over the last 6 months or so is kind of getting back into that routine of having a day job and being in a band, because it's we're all a couple more years older, and everything's a lot more. We kind of all got different routines now and everything. So it's been, but that's something that I need to prioritize. But I didn't really have time. But sadly what I didn't have time to do, or the means to do at all, is play drums. And that's something I really I think I didn't realize how much I'd missed playing drums and playing music, because I didn't have a drum kit set up anywhere. It's just not feasible. I couldn't really go and practice. I didn't have and we as a band weren't really able to have a way of writing stuff. Zoe wrote a bit, some stuff. I think it was a really hard time to try and
it was
be
really
inspired
strange.
to write music, and so we've done a few rehearsals for writing since, and I've written some of, personally, I'm some of the songs that I'm most proud of that we've ever written, which we've started to play live a bit from September. So I think it's probably the frustration of not being able to do anything for so long, I think, has really pushed us to write something that's just a bit different and a bit new. And so I'm really looking forward to recording that, which we're going into.
Yeah.
So we've recorded 3 songs off the new album, maybe 5, I think. Sorry, I'm forgetting things. It's just we're working out what we're going to put on the album. And then we've got 5 days in the studio in mid-December, so we're going to hopefully either finish it off or as near as, and then get it polished off in January.
Well, so, John Kidd asked, when can we expect a new tour in the second album? So next year, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. Is the short answer. Tours, definitely. We'll be playing gigs. We've got the Trades Club booked, and we're doing a support gig with Desperate Journalists in London in February. I think we'll focus. We won't do anything in January, really. I think we'll just need to focus on the album now, because we've kept saying yes to things, and I think it's just slowed our progress down in focusing on rehearsing and booking time in for the gigs. And then I don't know, we have sort of got a plan for the album, but I think we just need to. I don't really want to say anything, because I think we just need to we want to make whatever we do. We finished recording our first album in 2017, and we released it a year later. So if we're waiting this long, we need to make sure it's absolutely right. It's the best that it can be. That we're working with people so that it's seen and heard by as many people as we can, and that we can tour the hell out of it, basically. So I think that would be the main thing, is just not rushing anything and making it right, so that we can it has the most impact, because we're going to be really proud of it, I'm sure, by the time we're finished with it. So next year, definitely gigs for sure, and then I hope the album, or at least parts of it anyway, in terms of singles and stuff. But that's why we released Keep On Going this year, because I think the last release had been Sorry, which was last November.
During the pandemic, was that? Or was it?
Sorry?
It was during the pandemic when we got that one. Yeah, when we got Sorry.
And I think both of them were just to probably, if you were to be being kind of sensible about a release strategy for your album, you wouldn't just release 2 singles a year apart. But I think we've had the benefit of both has been there, in terms of being able to kind of be out there and kind of say hi, we're still around, but in the absence of being able to gig with Sorry, it was really worthwhile. And then for Keep On Going, I think it was just off the back of those gigs that we were doing as well, so it was nice to have. And it felt like, I don't know, without it being cheesy, it felt like a really nice, short, sweet song, and with just this repetitive keep on going in a loop through the song. I think it was a really important single for us to put out, and like I say, it went down really well at the gigs that we played because of that. So, because a lot of people, especially in London, I think it was a lot of people's first gig out post lockdown, and there were a lot of people with masks on and everything, and it felt very different to how things were in Manchester as well.
Yeah, but it's getting better now. It's getting a lot better, because when you go to gigs now, you hardly see anyone wearing face masks. I mean, hopefully it will get better and better. And we'll go back to normal next year or something.
Hopefully. I mean, it's obviously not in a good place, but I think hopefully with the vaccine and everything, it's not impacting people as much. But in terms of case wise, it's scary still. But gig wise, it's been a huge thing to be able to turn up and set up your drum kit and play to crowds and whatever. It's an amazing thing to be back at. And like I say, I don't think you realise how much you miss it until you're kind of then on stage and you're like, wow. But also how normal it feels as well. I felt like we did a guerrilla TV thing, that the TV online streaming thing that Tim Burgess and other people set up. We did that in, I think it was around when Sorry was released, so I think it was around October 2020, and
2020, yeah.
it was I felt like, because it was the first time we'd been set up, like it's the first time I'd set my drum kit up for like over a year, and I just felt like it was going to be really emotional, and that once we started playing, like I'd cry or something because it would just be like this so overwhelming thing. But it was just so normal, and it was just, I think, and nothing else. It was just like we'd never been away, and
Yeah,
never,
yeah.
so it was sort of a nice feeling to just get back to it and pretend that it was normal. Obviously we had another year of pretty much no gigs, but it was a really nice feeling just to be kind of back and being a band again, and having that feeling of just like post song, and yeah.
Well, I just want to say, I mean, this is so exciting because I don't know if you know, but one of my favorite, well, it's actually my most favorite band at the moment, Candy Opera, also just sort of like said hello to
wow.
Hello, Candy Opera.
That's amazing.
Awesome gig last Friday. I just really enjoyed it. But anyway, so going back, do your work colleagues know that you're in Lines or you're in a band, and that
they're probably sick of hearing about it. Yeah, it's but I mean, it's kind of a weird feeling having two different, quite very different lives, and but no, they're very supportive, and as a employer they're very supportive and quite flexible and stuff. But obviously it's been a bit different. I can barely remember having to kind of, like I say, manage both in such extremes. But 2019 was the year that we did that. We were really lucky to do the big support tour with Sleaford Mods, and so we had like 3 months where like every weekend from like any time from Wednesday to Thursday to Friday we would have to go off and do 2, 3 or 4 gigs after each. So we were basically working like Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then gigging Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or like around like that. And it was a conveyor belt of insanity, but it was proper living the dream from our point of view.
Yeah.
And so it was turning up to work on the Monday morning and just being like, wow, I've just been to like Southend or to Southampton or to York or whatever. It was we were all over the place, but that was an amazing experience of just being able to balance that. I mean, I think it exhausted me for the rest of the year. I think we did, I think 50 gigs in that year, 55 gigs in that year, and that was whilst we were all working full time, which doesn't sound a lot, but that is quite a lot.
But
a lot, especially when 30 of them were in the space of 12 weeks. But
but do you think there's maybe sometime in the future that you'll just sort of like give up your day job and just concentrate on being a drummer, or there's not really
I don't know if that's so easy nowadays. I think if I'd had the kind of wherewithal, or like the confidence, or the, I don't know, something, when I knew that I liked to drum, if I'd done something about that and maybe thought, I could maybe do this as a profession, be it either in a band or as a musician, like a kind of session musician or whatever, then that would have been nice. And maybe that's something, a bit of regret in that I don't think I really realized how much I enjoyed drumming until I was in my kind of like late 20s, early 30s. Obviously I'm still in my late 20s, early 30s, but I think
it's really exciting for me because you're actually the first one that's a lot younger than me when you were first guest, which is so good. But anyway, so Lines have been compared to Slater Kinney. I mean, I'm not very familiar with that band, but you've always been sort of like compared to them. I need to actually just sort of like check them out.
Oh my God, you do. Zoe will give you some starting points now, but they're an obvious comparison in a night. Sorry, that sounds really big-headed. They're an amazing band, and they're definitely a huge influence on us. But I think not necessarily, if you heard their music, would you think that's Lines. But I think singing-wise, like Zoe's got an amazing voice, obviously, and so has Corinne Tucker as well from Sleater Kinney, and I think their voices are compared a lot. And I think musically there are some things, and I think we've got lots of musical influences, because like music, Zoe's iPod's got like 15,000 songs on it. She's just been kind of consumed by music her whole life, and again, like, she's got parents that love music as well, and I think we're just lots of influences from different places. And I think, and the other comparison a lot is like, you know, kind of like Stephen Morris's drumming or whatever, but I think actually it's more than that. It's there's lots of stuff from kind of goth to grunge to kind of other stuff as well, and I think that's what I love about what we do, is that it is influenced by lots of things, and it isn't kind of a straightforward comparison, although we tend to get kind of post-punk, which is fine. I'm happy with that. It's very cool. And so I think, it's just a nice like mix of genres to kind of play with, basically.
I should check them out, because
oh my god, you have to. You absolutely have to. The other thing as well is that sadly there are very, very few huge female bands, like all female bands, that have such a huge influence on so many people, and there should be more, sadly. But so I think that's another thing, is that a lot of female bands get compared with other female bands, but but Sleater Kinney are just incredible, and I mean their earlier stuff especially, but they've come back quite strong as well, and we saw them on their last tour as well. But I think that's the thing as well. And Janet Weiss, who was the drummer in the main for them, who left, is just, I watched, I think it must have been David Letterman, I watched her play, and it was just, I've never seen anything like it. It was amazing. It was just, that's the thing, is like they're just incredible musicians, and just make amazing music. And from my point of view, I didn't actually know about them until much later, after their first kind of few albums. And so
they're still going then. So they're still playing.
But they've got a slightly different lineup. But they're a lot of the bands from that era are kind of coming back, like Bikini Kill, and it's the kind of part of the kind of Riot Girl and back in the late 90s, I think. So
So do you have any drumming heroes, like the drummer from the band, or
Sleater Kinney definitely. And I'd say like Dave Grohl as well, from back in the early Foo Fighters days, but obviously, and then he did a bit of drumming with Queens of the Stone Age. I love that energy of drumming. But I love bands like The National, and their drummer, I don't actually know his name, but he's got a really interesting style with like use of the hi-hats that I really, really, really enjoy, and the same with like Foles as well. And how I think, is it Jack Wood or something, his just that kind of build of the drums through the song, and just like little things that I like to add, that I think it's just that just like I say, the more you absorb, the more it helps to kind of educate how you can make a song. They build from start to finish, or go loud and quiet and everything. So I just there's loads. I don't think there's one that I just look and idolize at all. But like I say, in terms of just being impressed by drummers, I think that Janet Weiss one was like that. Really, it was a jaw-dropping moment for me.
Wow, because you still go to lots of gigs, right? You and Zoe still go to.
I don't go to loads, and I definitely don't go to as many as I'd like to, or as many as I used to, and that's a shame. But I think that's just life gets busier, and obviously, and being in a band as well, it's quite hard, and I don't know, struggle with like tinnitus and stuff like that, and so it's just, you have to choose your loud rooms to be in. But I wish I could go to more, definitely. But I think it's I think you kind of want go on.
When you go to a gig, where you sort of like me, you position yourself where you can actually see the drummer and
definitely
watch them play, and
I have to. No, I'm really, really interested in how it works, and I think that's probably the person that I look at the most. Even if it's my favorite band with a favorite front person, I'll be like that, looking through people's heads just to see what they're doing, or like on the
we've got sort of like a couple of sort of like comments from the Ask the Drummer Facebook page. Jack Harkins, he's in a band called I think it's UHR. He said that you're a superb drummer, and a force of nature. That's what he said.
Thank you very much.
And also
Spence
Spence Roberts, Yeah, he also said, "What a drummer! Lions, great band." He said that he was fortunate to meet you when you played with, is it Sleaford Mods?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah. Oh, amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and also want to say hello to Dubia. He's watching from America, I think California. I think he's
Oh,
watching from.
wow.
Brian, he said Brian Devendorf, the national
Yes, thank you.
master.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's Brian Devendorf. So he says he's the master of the hi hat.
Yeah, absolutely. And just, yeah, that's, like I say, that was just the intricacies that kind of stuff is really stands out to me. And I don't obviously, we don't kind of go around copying stuff, but just the understanding that kind of stuff is really stands out to people makes us want to do little things like that ourselves. And
Right.
so that's, yeah, little, he's, yeah, I've loved the National for years, and from the beginning, I saw them at the Roadhouse when it was still around, and now they're, the last time I saw them was at the Castlefield Bowl, and so it's, but that has been one thing that I've always been obsessed with, is just the kind of stuff like that, and how much it impresses me in the background. So
Well,
I like to, yeah,
that's another band that I need to check out because it's like all these bands
yeah,
that I haven't, I don't really know their music and stuff, but I will do because you do learn something new every day, and then every
yeah,
time I have a guest who sort of like tells me that, oh, we've got to listen to this band
yeah.
and this one, so
And I
I
think,
will.
like, you'll see how different they are to Sleater Kinney, and how, again, how they are to other bands as well. So it's just, I think it just, I think I used to be really quite, not snobby, but kind of quite strict in what I allowed myself to like and not like when I was younger. And now I would listen to anything pretty much, and get something from it for sure. And especially, I think, like, listening to the kind of beats and the drums aspect of it. But I think otherwise, as long as I can kind of move to it, or like dance to it, or appreciate it in some way, I think, yeah, like I say, I probably lost so many years of just ignoring stuff, and I don't know what it was. I think it was from pretending to be cool or whatever. I don't know what it was, but I think there's another stuff that I've not
Yeah.
appreciated at the time that have come back to as well. And I think there's just so much in music that there's no limits to it really, which is amazing. So like I say, the bands that I listen to and that might kind of have an influence on me are just so many. They're across so many different things, because the National can be mainly quite mellow and stuff as well, but there, where Sleater Kinney is by and large quite kind of, especially like I say, their earlier stuff is quite grungy and guitar and thrashy and thrashy drums as well. But then obviously, like, Joy Division is much more pared back, and bands that have obviously been influenced by Joy Division, like Interpol as well, are another band that I really loved when I was younger. And again, the drums again are that thing, and Foals as well, possibly from them. So it's the kind of the journeys that these bands are taking are kind of are
Yeah.
feeding into us as well.
Well, I've got a question from Dubia again from California. He said, "How much do you enjoy improvising while drumming?"
Well, probably playing live. I don't. I tend to stick to the song that the way that I've set it up. I mean, I definitely will improvise a lot, rehearsing, and until I've got that final, that kind of final drum kind of track that I'm happy with and settled with for a song. But I don't improvise live unless, I don't know, it's very rare that I ever play a gig that isn't a Lines gig. In fact, I don't even know why I said that. I've never played a gig that isn't a Lines gig. So yeah, I think I really love kind of messing around on drums, like in soundcheck and stuff. And I wish I had more time to do that, but it's really noisy, and everyone just looks at you like this unless you ask to make noise by the sound person. Don't, especially if you're a drummer, because everyone's just like, oh. But I love playing drums, and I love the best bit I love when writing the songs is trying to work out the drum track, and that's when the improvisation comes in, really. So, but live, I think sometimes I just have moments more where I'm like, oh, I have no idea what's coming up next, and your arm just does it, or your leg just does it, and you're like, thank God, that was, yeah. I've had loads of close calls, but that's nothing to do with improvisation. That's to do with memory. Which is hard enough. So remembering's hard enough. So improvising.
Well, another thing that I like asking drummers is that have you ever had any like disaster, like a drumming disaster, or maybe one of the sticks sort of, like flew and
Oh
then
my god, yeah, yeah. I think to be honest, I think it might have been Tamsin's first gig with us. It was a big thing when Steph left actually, and and so it was a nice. We kind of announced Tamsin and everything, but we did it as a kind of secret gig with our then label, Reckless Yes, and they kind of announced as a different band name, as a kind of made up band name. But during that gig, I think I managed to launch my drumstick right, like past. I definitely hit Steph in the head with a drumstick before, but Tamsin went straight past her head and into the crowd, and I was just like this. So for the 20 intervening seconds before someone went and picked it up and walked on stage and handed it back to me, were kind of quite dying on the spot, inducing. But I think just, I don't know, it just tends to be things like where you are that in that panic mode of like, I have no idea what's about to happen, or you think that someone's about to change to like the chorus and you're about to, but then you realize, oh no, we're not there yet, and you have to
yeah,
move. But and then the other thing is just like, I don't know, sometimes just being in pain and thinking, I am not going to get to the end of this song, which isn't that often anymore, but that's quite a scary thing where a lot of our songs, especially, well, to be honest, a lot of our songs, for me especially, are non-stop. So I don't have like a point in which I can break or anything. So
yeah,
if there's an
yeah,
issue with anything, like I have to get my angles quite specifically right when it comes to like where my snare is to my hi-hat to the cymbals, and so that I don't end up in kind of agony. Which I don't know if that's old age or just, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, if I get it wrong and I realize I've got it wrong at the start, I'm like, this is going to be a fun 2.5 minutes, and you kind of have to just kind of grit your teeth and then fix it at the end. But I think that's been the worst bits. It's just like,
yeah.
especially when we were on tour with Sleaford Mods as well, they were the biggest crowds we'd ever played to every night, and sometimes
Yeah.
a few thousand people, and you're just like, can't fuck it up at all, can't just get through this. But yeah,
Yeah,
but
because
also they were the best experience as well.
whenever I see you, it's all like you're always like the look of concentration on your face. It's like she's not smiling at all.
I do
Because sometimes,
sometimes. I think I've got a bit more. I think I got to a point, especially like I say in 2019, that magical year where
yeah,
we played so much, we were so relaxed. We got to, I think, the best in terms of performance on stage and being able to just enjoy it. Because there's obviously that point where you're wanting to get it right, and it sounds like you're not just trying to perfect it, and then having that
yeah,
opportunity to just be so relaxed in what you're playing that you can enjoy the experience. But then
yeah,
there are times when I look up and then I instantly make a mistake. I'm like, why did I do that? So I tend to, I don't know, this is probably, if I've never watched LIINES play, but I think you just get to that point at the end of the song where we're just like this, and then we just break because because the songs are really intense as well, and there's a lot of
yeah, yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lot of time where it is just kind of you can only focus on moving your arm quick enough, and and the noise and everything of it is really intense. But then you come to the end and you're just like, and breathe, and it is just this,
yes.
and then I smile, I hope, anyway. And if I don't, then you probably know why. But yeah, so
Well, I've got one more question from Dubier. He said, "What time signature do you like to play in?" See,
uh,
see these questions. I mean, I'm not really so like I told you, I don't have any drumming, like technical
yeah,
drumming questions. But yeah, he's got one. So, what time signature do you like to play in?
I think, to be honest, it probably just is 4/4. I think I don't think we have many that are very different. They're obviously just different speeds, and maybe they are different versions of 1/4, 2,
Yeah,
1/2, or 1/8. I think there's one that I count in, which is an eight count. But other than that, yeah. But that doesn't mean that they're not interesting songs. I don't have to think about that. There's no. Most songs are 1, 2, 3, 4, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a 4/4 count, does it? You probably can tell me more. It's been a long time since I did music learning of like bars and notes and things like that. But I think one of the ones, "Wait," which is a new song, has got I was just trying to count it out then. I think I would have said that was probably the most interesting time signature, but I think it is just 4/4. It just sounds a bit different in when we play it on the beat. So yeah.
Right. Well, I've got one because I know it's nearly 1 o'clock now. But my
Yeah, well
last
then just no.
it was like, do you have any advice to aspiring drummers? You know, like the young ones out there, or even so like old ones who wanting to try it, like
Yeah.
myself, who want to try it.
Well, get yourself set up on something. Like I say, even like my like rectangular drum pad, which allowed me to just learn how to cross my hands and use my feet with these pedals that I got from Argos, and there must be millions of those around by now, or even a drum kit proper. But just to kind of just to practice and get your coordination right, so that when you start to listen to stuff, or when you have listened to stuff, and you can work out how to execute that, and find out your way. But I think also there's learning to play drums by listening to your favorite music, but there's nothing like creating music to work out what drumming you really like to do. So when I joined Hooker, I was learning another person's like drum beats, which were great, and it was really exciting to be able to do that. But it allowed me to establish myself and be comfortable behind a drum kit. But then starting to write new drums when we were writing new music was probably the most exciting thing ever, because it was allowing me to kind of to understand like what I liked to do and what I like to play. So I think just like absorb yourself in lots of different things, and I think you'll kind of come up with something that works for you, and this mix of your influences will come out in how you play. But also wear earplugs. is my number one thing for drummers. And so because so many people come up to me, well not so many, but a lot of people come up to me after gigs and say, oh, my daughter's getting into drumming, and I'm like, that's amazing, you have to do it, it's the best thing ever, but you have to protect your ears. It sounds so boring, but it's it's important.
There's quite a lot of because I remember going to an event, it's for Craig Gill of Inspired Car.
Yeah.
He had tinnitus as well, and I think quite a lot. Well, the drummers who sort of like went to this event, they also like share their experiences of sort of like having that problem and stuff. Yeah, you do have to protect. You do have to protect your ears.
You do, and it's not. I hope now, although obviously in the absence of gigs for a few years, I hope people haven't forgotten. But I think it's become a thing that isn't so like, oh, you're stupid for wearing earplugs, or it's not a kind of cool thing. But you can get very discreet ones now as well. But and also they don't ruin and sometimes often improve the sound quality of the gig you're at. I always wear them when I'm rehearsing. I do sometimes struggle to wear them during gigs that I'm playing, because the sound on stage it really varies depending on the venue, and sometimes it's just a dirge of bass and drums, and actually to get that clarity you just have to, at this point we haven't got inner ear monitor type things, in-ear monitor headpieces, but which a lot of people recommend, because you are able to then get the quality of sound that you need within an earplug, which is incredible. So I am just wearing like kind of molded NHS like quality ones, which are good, and they've been brilliant since I started wearing them. But it's a bit too late in terms of the tinnitus is there, and it's horrible, but you can prevent that. And and prevent it from getting worse as well, and also your hearing loss as well is not good. If you love music and you're starting to lose your hearing, then that's horrible. But that's not me. But it's the tinnitus is bad.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. I'm so good. Like I said, it's just so exciting when you said yes to coming on.
That's so happy. Thank you. It's an amazing. I love drummers. You love drummers. I've listened to a few of them, and they've been really, really cool. And I will keep listening. And so thank you so much, and thanks for all your support for LIINES. It's always amazing to see your face in the crowd. You're just so you're just such an amazing person. So thank you. And so gigs coming up. We've got the Trades Club, which is our first headline gig of next year, which is for Independent Venue Week, the Hebden Bridge Trades Club. which is
Yeah.
like for us like proper bucket list ticking off,
Well,
headlining there. And
yeah,
then
John
like,
Pitt actually said, "See you at the trades."
oh,
So he's
amazing, yeah.
like, yeah, yeah. It's
And
a
then
lovely. Yeah, it's really nice, that venue there.
yeah, it's really cool. Like
Yeah,
it's
and it's a
so
nice.
well respected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very, very
Thank you
much.
so
And
much.
now that I know that you don't mind me,
Exactly.
so like coming up to you when I see you in short,
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna go and say hello.
Yeah. I promise we won't play a trick on you and be like, excuse me, we're trying to have a conversation here. No. That'd be lovely.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll see you soon. If not, then
Yeah.
a gig as
All
well.
right.
So, yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. Take care.
Bye, Lila. Yeah,
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, that was so cool. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Sorry, Neil. Yeah, we were on so like 2 hours early because Lila requested for a 12 o'clock start. But thank you all so much for joining us, and that was just so amazing. I really love Lines. I love Lila. Like I said, I love her. She's just so amazing. When if you get a chance to see Lines live, or please go, because you'll oh my God, you'll be like, oh my God, this is so good. It makes you feel so alive. So yeah, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And like I always say, love music, love life, and love drummers, because they're just so awesome. So see you again next week. Bye. Bye.